Well, hey, welcome everyone to another coach video tip. My name's Dan Foster. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Building Champions, as well as an executive coach. And today I have the privilege of speaking with one of my great friends and an amazing executive coach, Carlos Marín. Carlos, welcome, buddy. It is so great to be with you.
Thanks, Dan. Happy to be here.
Great, man. Well, hey, we're going to be talking about peak performance today in our coach video tip. And I know that this topic has been something that you are really passionate about, not only for yourself as a coach, but also for the clients that you're working with. You've been investing a lot of time, a lot of research and development time into this topic. So I'm really excited to learn from you today, because I think everyone that we coach probably at some point has said, I want to be a top performer. I want to be the best. And you're learning about some new ways for us to think about that and what it means. So yeah, let's jump in. Does that sound good?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Dan. As executive leadership coaches, we get to partner with humans that are more talented than us.
Yes.
In the discovery process of their untapped potential, right? And so then they go and figure out, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And I want to talk about that here in a minute, but at its best, the work we do is really transformative, and it leads to more fulfilling lives. So this is what I wake up to every day, and I'm like, yes, that's why I'm here on planet Earth sucking air, right? Is to be able to work with people that are amazing humans doing amazing things, and just provide maybe some frameworks that work. I'm always on the hunt for frameworks that provide that edge for my clients, and for me. A lot of the times I'm trying stuff out on myself first, and like, this works. Let's do it. Here's something. So there's this one thing I came across. I came across this book. It's called Beyond Performance by Jason Jaggard.
Okay.
And it's really interesting, because that kind of started helping me think about how it is that I've been helping some of my clients, but really puts into some really concrete ideas what some of the problems are with peak performance and high performance. And so let me just show you something really cool.
Let's
how this all works. So this is what he puts out in his book. It's basically, you've got your typical hierarchy here, and you've got low performance, you've got performance, you've got high performance. And the idea right here is that, well, low performance is it's a concept of, well, what's the least amount of work I can do to not get fired.
That's right. Just want to keep collecting the paycheck, do the minimum level of effort here.
Yeah, exactly. Then you got performance, which is, how can I be good at my job? That's an upgrade. It's better, right? Then you've got high performance, which is, how can I be the best? And so that's usually sounds like a great thing to aspire to. How can I be the best? But what happens here in high performance is that high performers have some drawbacks or issues that you see. For example, they become resistant to feedback because feedback threatens their identity as a high performer. So you're not supposed to give me feedback because I'm the best already, right? They also can resent being asked to do more because they perceive their capacity is already maxed out. They can become both simultaneously overwhelmed and bored. Overwhelmed because they feel like their plate is full, or bored because they don't feel like they're growing. The author also says they develop resentment of other employees, and sometimes can start not even helping other employees. They get jealous of others who surpass them, or are sometimes even unconsciously conspiring against others' growth. And the other thing is, they're no longer, they become no longer coachable when they're in this high performance thing. They feel like, well, I can be the best. So what else do I need?
What else do I need to learn and grow? I've reached the pinnacle, right?
And so that kind of caps them right here. A lot of the things that you see also is they're after the win. They're wanting to win. That's the focus. It's not beyond that. And so it gets really monotonous and really like, okay, well, I got that medal, I got that award, I made the sale, and what's after that? So Jason says, well, what about meta performance?
Hmm.
And the idea of meta is using the Greek word meta there for beyond, or
Okay.
what's, beyond performance or after performance. The concept of metamorphosis, for example.
Okay.
Now, the thing is this: anyone can be a high performer, and in a meeting, for example, right now I can go from high performance to low performance to meta performance all in one session, all in one meeting, right? And so that can happen, but the idea here is, how do you achieve this thing of meta performance? And it's not like, well, is there something higher than meta performance then? Are
Yeah.
you going to start like, ultra supernova performance? I mean, what's the next level up? No,
Yeah.
the concept here is beyond performance. So that started helping me to think about, well, how is it that I help my clients get out of a high performance funk
Hmm.
where you're tapping yourself and you're not moving forward, not moving onward,
Yes.
and how do I help them get there?
So let me pause for just a
Yeah.
second. I want to make sure I'm getting this. So what you're saying is that like high performers can sort of hit this ceiling, if you will,
Mhm.
when all they're focused on is the win, the market share, the revenue, the next big sale, being the best in the list of people that they're competing against, their peers, whatever it might be. When it's very metric driven, you sort of kind of hit this funk of like, when you get to the top, it's like, well, what next, right? Because I'm at the top. And so you're saying there's another level of performance, and I'm assuming that means there's some sort of mindset shift that goes on. So keep going. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure, am I tracking properly here?
Yeah, exactly. You're right on. So where the low performer asks, what's the least I can do to not get fired? The performer says, what can I do to be the best good at my job? Good, just
Okay.
good. The high performer says, how can I be the best? They want to be the best in their team, the best in their office, the best in the region, the best in the country, whatever. They want to be the best. The meta performer says or asks, what am I capable of?
Mm,
That's a different mindset,
yeah.
change in mindset. So what am I capable of? So the lid is taken off. No
Okay.
more lid, right?
Yep.
And they answer that question with another question, which is, I didn't know I could do that.
Ah,
And that's where you want to get to. So how do you help a client move from anywhere where they're at? Most of my clients are in high performance. I would say all my clients are high performers, peak performers. But how do you get away from that chasing the cheese all the time, just
yeah.
always going after? And there's stories out there of Olympic performers or Olympics that get out there, win the medal, and end up in a fetal position in their hotel room
Yes.
because it's over, it's done.
Yeah. Yep. And you end up finding your identity not in like what you said, what am I capable of? How else can contribute, but more on that medal, that winning that award. And if that's all there is, it feels empty. Like when you are a high achiever and you're surrounded by other high achievers and peak performers, it's like there's got to be more. There's got to be
Right.
more to life. There's got to be more to leadership, or there, whatever I'm trying to do. It seems like.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so the idea is to change. Here's what I've been kind of toying with, is change the locus of your focus.
Oh, I like that.
So the word locus is just a fancy word for location, right? So
Yep.
what are you focusing on? So
Okay.
changing the locus of your focus. If you change the focus from how can I be the best to what am I capable of, that's a change in focus.
Yes.
And one way to change the focus, and this is where I've been helping some of my clients with, is trying to use the concept of flow.
Flow. Okay.
Yes. How do you get into a flow state?
Hmm.
So we've all experienced flow in one shape or another. So, for example, I don't know if you've ever played in a band and you're
Yeah.
jamming together, that jam
Yeah.
session, everybody's flowing, going in and out, or
Yeah.
you've heard a great band do that. If you played any sports, there's that zone, being in the zone.
Yep.
Surfers talk about that as well,
Yeah.
right? Climbers, rock
Everything is
climbers.
just kind of naturally happening, and everybody is like, dude, that guy's in the zone. I'm in the zone. We're all clicking together. It's awesome type stuff, right?
And typically you don't even notice you're in the zone. You don't notice you're in flow until afterwards. And that's the, did I do that type of thing? It's like, wow,
Right.
how did I do that? And I didn't know I could do that. That's where you want to get to, instead of, how can I be the best? That's limiting you.
Yeah.
So the flow state, that's the concept of flow. And I think we've all experienced that. If anybody here listening, if you can think of a time you've done that, you've experienced that, it's an awesome experience. And the thing is, there's a scientific way of actually getting into that flow state more often than not.
Good. Okay. How
do we do that? Right. And again, this we can go into several layers of this, but when it comes to flow, there's a few key things that need to be there for it to actually be flow, and not just like, oh, that felt good, but it's beyond just feeling good about your work. It's really finding this thing where it's an intrinsic motivator. Something's happening intrinsically. So it's internal, not extrinsic. So high performers, how can I be the best? Well, what does that mean? There are extrinsic motivators that are trying to help them be the best.
Right.
The same goes though if they fail. So
yes, it's the carrot and the stick, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I get this if I do it, and or I'm not disciplined, but I lose out if I don't get it, I guess. Right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but extrinsic motivators could also be, well, what's my boss going to think of me?
Yeah, exactly.
If I don't get this, if I don't make quarter, what's my wife going to think, or my spouse? What are my kids? I mean, you just go on, and these are all extrinsic things outside of your control that are not necessarily helping you get that motivation from within. And so flow state can be more academically described like an intrinsic state of absorption in which a high degree of control feels more effortless than usual.
Okay.
So there's a few keywords here.
Yeah. Explain that absorption, because you had me on the other half of it, but the absorption piece, help me understand that.
So first is intrinsic. So there's an intrinsic state of absorption. What's absorption? You're totally absorbed in it. You're in it. You're like, time, space, just kind of means nothing, and you're just in the zone. So it's intrinsically though, not extrinsic. And then which a high level of control. So there is a level of difficulty here. Your skill needs to match that level of difficulty, needs to match the challenge. So skill and challenge need to be there. But it feels more effortless than usual. It's just like, you're in flow. So that's the concept. So those, the intrinsic, absorption, effortlessness, those three things need to be there. And there are some precursors, or the fancy word is antecedents, up to flow. How do you kind of set yourself up for that? And so, for example, one thing I've been helping some of my clients is, don't just imagine yourself succeeding. Like they're going to give a talk, right? And they're going to do a town hall for their region, and they could just say, okay, I'm at the podium, and I feel cool, calm, collected. I'm poised, and I'm delivering with clarity. Okay, that's great. That's positive thinking. Good, keep doing that. I'm not saying stop.
Right, but
there's just another level where you can imagine yourself, envision yourself in flow. And that's another level. Because it's different. It's not just, oh, I feel positive about this. Even before our talk today, I was like, okay, how can I envision myself flowing, not being clunky, not being weird, just chill. Carlos, you're talking to Dan. And just flow, just enjoy the moment, and share this great nugget that you found, and it's been amazing for your clients. I'm envisioning myself in flow. And whereas, I may not do this all the time, I may do it in other ways, but if I imagine myself in flow, I'll most likely get that antecedent, right? That precursor to actually experiencing flow.
Love it, man, love it. Okay, so how does this work for beyond yourself? Like, how do you see it helping with teams? How do you see it helping like in organizations? Because I would assume if you get a group of people that are experiencing flow simultaneously, like some pretty cool stuff can happen for a team, I would think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the wonderful thing. It's flow can be experienced by anyone. By the
Okay.
way, just before I go there, because that's like we can do a whole other theme on that, another episode on that. But flow is not experienced just by the, 1%. It's
Yeah.
not something that is for the few privileged people that can figure out how to summon this. No, no, no.
Right.
Flow is experienced by all sorts of people in all sorts of situations, in cancer wards, in war-torn countries.
Yeah.
There's flow can be experienced by people in concentration camps. I mean,
Yeah.
again, because it's intrinsic. So
Yes.
if you keep doing this intrinsic stuff, you'll never find flow. So it's an intrinsic state of absorption. So not only can you do it individually, but also with a team. Now,
Okay.
all things being equal, now when you're working with others, it gets a little bit more difficult.
Sure.
One of the antecedents for flow in teams is really having a high quality level of relationships within that team.
Yes. Okay. Probably high
Trust.
trust, right?
High
Yes.
trust is definitely an antecedent for flow. If people don't trust you, if you don't trust your team, there's no way you'll achieve flow. Flow,
Yeah.
really trust, having high levels of trust within a team is absolutely paramount, for example.
Yeah. So I'm thinking then for like leaders, if there's a couple of things that are crossing my mind. One is that as a leader, this responsibility that I would have to get my team into a state of flow, or I'll maybe set up the environment where flow is possible for them, right? Because I can't control whether you're in flow or not. That sounds like you're saying it's intrinsic for me to sort of experience flow, and it's within my control to kind of help it get there. But if I can create the right environment for my team and my organization where flow can take place, then that's something that's a high payoff activity for me. Is how do I create that environment for my team? Am I right in that regard from a leader's responsibility standpoint?
You're spot on. The quality of relationship with yourself and
Yeah.
your team is the key to flow. I just learned this yesterday, and it's an amazing thing. But I'll have to come back, and maybe on the notes we can give the credit where credit is due. But there's
Sure.
5 things that are required for that quality relationship in the team. One is trust. We've said that. Here's another one that's really, really odd. I never expected this one. Forgiveness. I'll
Ah.
come back to that in a second. Integrity. Okay. Like,
Okay.
first, do no harm, the Hippocratic Oath, right? Hope. That's another one in a team. I'll talk about that. And then compassion, empathy, and care. So trust, we kind of all get that.
Yep.
Giving of yourself unconditionally, trusting others, and trusting yourself is very important. Forgiveness is one that I did not say, okay, yeah. And so forgiveness, the idea is first forgiving myself when I make a mistake.
Sure.
And then forgiving others in the team when they make a mistake. So that high level of trust is to forgive or give for.
Yes.
Give
Yes.
for the team. Give
Yes.
for the unity. Give for, right? So forgiveness, integrity. We get that. I think that's super common and important. The other one that's not so common though is hope.
Yeah.
There should be, in order for that high quality relationship in a team to foster flow, there needs to be a high level that as we forgive, there is hope for us to continue in unity and continue working together.
Love that.
And pulling together. Yeah, it's really awesome. And then the last one is that compassion, showing empathy, showing real care for one another. When teams come with this high level of trust, and I know a lot of corporate people will say, oh, there's that mushy stuff. They go to you want to cap yourself and never really find out what you're capable of, then continue with peak performance.
Yeah.
It's great. High performance, peak performance, great. Sure.
Yeah.
But if you want to go beyond that and really find yourself in a transformative state, then you've got to go after flow, whether it's individually or within the team.
How are your clients responding to this, Carlos? Like, when somebody first hears this, they might be like, okay, yeah. But, like what's the response been as they start to put into practice some of the things you're coaching them on when it comes to flow? What's the response been?
It's been really welcomed with a lot of intentional curiosity.
Yes.
They're intentionally curious. Okay, tell me more, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, they go away with hope.
Yeah.
I think that's how they're going away with on the first try. Then they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I tried it and it works. And the anxiety, here's what's happening with my clients. Anxiety levels are dropping. The whole concept of or their idea, self concept of just kind of how they see themselves sometimes very negatively. That's starting to dwindle, go away. And again, it's a lot has to do with the changing the locus of the focus.
Yes.
If you're focusing on high performance and how can I be the best, you'll never get to that next level. So it's really being, we're toying with it. We're working a lot around this and being really curious. There's a lot of play happening with it. We're playing with it.
Great.
And that's an antecedent also to flow, is to just play with it and feel it out. And so do that, get out there, learn about this stuff, man. It's better. There's a better way.
There is
to life balance than what we kind of seem to know.
Buddy, this is great. Thank you so much. You've opened my mind and eyes to this idea of flow. We will put in the notes a few links for people. And just this is one of those things that I like the word you use, metamorphosis. It's a transformational way of thinking about performance and about connection with people, and really just examining yourself and asking, when have I felt like I'm in the flow, right? And because I think you're right, we have all had those moments. So man, thank you for this. This is great. If you're watching today and you want to learn more about Carlos and coaching with him and how he's helping leaders just like you to improve their overall leadership effectiveness in the workplace, as well as their effectiveness in home and how they lead in their homes and in their communities, check out our website at buildingchampions.com. You can also connect with Carlos on LinkedIn and other social media. Carlos, thank you, buddy. It's been great being with you.
It's an honor, Dan.
Yeah, you bet, man. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.